Minecraft currently has 9 different ocean biomes. However, they all suffer from the exact same problems. They look the same, they're extremely barren, and they're also barely that deep. So I'm going to transform all of them, starting with the classic ocean. And the first problem I have to tackle is draining this entire monument. Hello guys, don't mind me. Ow. You know what I haven't done yet? I haven't made a spear. Hey, look at that, mate. Diamond spear. Oh, this looks cool, dude. Where's the sea gun? You're getting shanked, mate. Boom. Get poked, bro. Okay, now this place is ready to be drained. But rather than using the traditional method of sand and sponges, because that will take forever, instead I'll build up some obsidian pillars, set up some trench making machines, then set up a couple of slime sweepers, watch the most satisfying montage I've ever seen, and then I'll make the biggest mistake I could have possibly made. What? No, you've got to be kidding me, man. Bro, I actually can't be bothered. Just because I broke those obsidian pillars, this whole thing filled itself back in? I mean, that wave was cool, but I've got to do that all again, dude. You've got to be kidding me. Well, we can finally move on to the next part of this project. And I want to build a... wait for it. Blue hole. And no, that is not some pun for a big hole in the ocean. It's actually a giant underwater sinkhole that can extend down to thalassophobia levels of deep, which is a bit too deep for my purposes, I think. So instead, 40 blocks should be enough to classify as a deep ocean. But I wasn't about to spend the next 3 days of my life mining, because ain't nobody got time for that. So instead, just carving the edges to fill with water, I built myself the ultimate 3-way TNT machine. All we've got to do is break the redstone block. And it's not working. Perhaps the TNT needs to be here? Hey, there it goes. Yeah, look at this hole, mate. It's already reached the deep slate. That was really quick. So yeah, I guess we'll just let this thing run. The bottom is a bit of a mess. But you know what, actually, we can use that as a natural landscape, because the next thing I'm going to do is cover this entire area in sand. That'll work pretty... Okay, cool. Thanks, creeper. Mate, I'm basically creating like my own artificial ocean right now. This is going to be cool. Ocean man, take me by the hand, lead me to the land that you understand. Ocean man, look at this ocean man. No. Now for the walls, blue holes apparently just have straight vertical walls around the side, so I think we'll just do that with some sandstone, and then as the hole reaches the top, it kind of levels out to a flatter surface. Okay, I think we're pretty much ready to add the water in, but I didn't really want a repeat of what happened earlier. So first I'm going to need to get a ton of blue stained glass, and we're going to extend this entire blue circle all the way down to the sand. So bada boom. Oh, but here comes the fun part, because I've got to grab all this netherrack, and I have to cover up this entire hole. Yeah, this is going to take a while. And I think the easiest way to fill this entire thing with water is just to fill a diagonal line. And we can fill in the entire hole below by just breaking all the netherrack. Yo, this looks ominous. This is actually pretty cool. Oh, wait. Oh my god, all these gaps I made, I need to fill in with water too. But am I really going to spend an entire day filling in all these gaps? I regret everything. But this hole is pretty much complete. Yeah, blue holes don't have much in them because light don't exist at these depths. What we can add is some long lost treasures like a giant trident build and a sunken chest. And hey, I can finally get rid of these obsidian pillars too. And of course the water isn't filling itself in this time. You know, when I actually wanted to. But now we can add the main build, which is going to be the transformed ocean monument. Although we don't really have much dark prismarine, and you need like 1 black dye per dark prismarine, which is an absurd recipe, by the way. And since the wither rose farm I had doesn't work anymore, I'm gonna have to cause extinction for a different species. That's a lot of sacks. Huh? Alright, we can finally start building this thing. Okay, real quick, one thing I'm going to do is change these blue towers to be orange, just to lean into the Guardian theme. Look at this dude, he's always watching. He's even watching me now. Stop looking at me, you creep. And there we go. The sea temple's actually pretty cool. Now what we gotta do inside is build a guardian farm. And based on what I saw earlier, guardians always seem to just sink down to the bottom. They're too fat, I guess. So if I line up a bunch of signs to stop the water, now we can place campfires all along these hoppers. Should just be able to fill this whole roof in with water, and hopefully guardians will start spawning. Oh, that's working like a charm. Look at all the guardians suffering. I love it. And the death of all these guardians shall fuel the power core above with this cool glass beam thing. So there we go. That's the deep ocean and ocean transformations complete. Well, kinda. Because unlike last time when I transformed all the forests, we're going to be transforming all the oceans in this one area. But we do need to separate them somehow. And to do that, I'm going to be building an islands. We're building islands, okay? If you guys want a better visual idea of what I'm thinking, here you go. It's pretty good, right? So while I figure out the structure of these, they're going to look pretty weird, but eventually they should turn out to be full-fledged islands. You know, designing these islands is actually pretty fun. Yeah, I can definitely work with this. This looks okay so far. So for these islands, I figured the best place to start would be outlining the beaches. The only issue was, I wasn't entirely sure how big I wanted these islands. So it was time to get my toes wet and create a smooth drop off into the water, which would eventually lead to massive underwater cliff sides and a nicely terraformed ocean floor. Yeah, I did this for every single island. It was not fun. And not to mention, I didn't even complete every side because I was getting bored out of my mind. So instead of returning back to the surface, I started filling in the terrain so I could get a better idea of how big these islands would be. And hey, if you guys thought that was a lot, well, I haven't even started detailing these islands yet. Yeah, I'm starting to regret this entire episode, but all these islands are going to have individual themes with the corresponding ocean biomes surrounding them. So for now, I'm just going to add the details that are common to all of them, which are rocks, bushes, and trees. I just have one big dilemma. Do I want to use cocoa beans for coconuts? Or bells for coconuts? Am I insane for wanting to go with bells? Alright, that's 29 coconuts. Let's go place them in. These coconuts sure do make a weird sound. Alright, now it's time for the individual themes. So for the snowy islands, I decided to add some simple ice spikes and igloos. But then it was time to get a bit more tropical. Alright, the islands are done. And man, these drinks are good. Guys, I think I've had too much to drink. What the? Where am I? And what is that? This is Rust. One of the most unforgiving survival games out there. I just got brutally murdered. And that is Rust's iconic oil rig monument, which I want to recreate in my hardcore world. And yeah, you guys don't even want to know the effort I went through to make this. Yeah, I had to actually play Rust, all so that I could accurately map out all the colors, details, and proportions of this build. And this build requires a lot of random materials. One of the main things I need is a ton of terracotta. Let's just plow through this mountain. And we also need a lot of copper, which I think I'm just going to get through a trial chamber. The last main thing I need is 3,000 note blocks. Nobody should need this many note blocks. Alright, and that should be absolutely everything. So it was time to build this oil rig, and this turned out to be one of my favorite builds of the episode, because you guys wouldn't know this, but I actually love watching Rust content, even though I absolutely despise playing the game. But I've always thought that the oil rig was a cool looking monument, and there's so many little details and features that I tried my best to recreate using good old Minecraft blocks. But you also might be wondering why I decided to build an oil rig, and honestly, there's a real lack of structures in Minecraft's oceans that emerge above the water's surface. So not only did I want to build something that would be prominent, but also fun to explore. I could probably spend like an hour going over all the details in this place, but scientists are going to start spawning soon. And one thing I do need to do is connect this thing down to the bottom. And once we finish this, the warm ocean transformation will be complete. But wait, Eugenerino, aren't coral reefs in the warm ocean? Well, weirdly enough, the warm ocean is the only one that doesn't have a deep variant. Mojang just said, screw the deep warm ocean, I guess. And since I want to build a giant coral reef, I'm going to be doing that in the deep lukewarm ocean instead. But that brings the next big issue, because in order to transform the deep lukewarm ocean, I'm going to need to carve out the majority of this seafloor. And I don't have the liberty of using TNT machines this time. Yeah, the next week of my life is going to be fun. Okay, so I decided to add this entire cliff in just because that's better, but I've also realized that just blindly digging all this stone is pretty stupid. So instead, I'll spend 3 hours learning Axiom so that I can create a nice looking terrain for this coral reef. You see, now I'm mining with purpose, not just randomly mining blocks like a bozo. All we've got to do now is just cover it in a layer of sand.
Alrighty then.
So we have to make this place teeming with animals and corals. Let's start with some simple table corals. Of course, inspired by Subnautica. We are ripping off all the games today. And yeah, I want this whole place to be very colorful and vibrant. You know what's great about building underwater? It's literally so easy. Just go get me goggles and flippers on and swim around like a little fish. But anyways, let's speed through building some corals now. We've got the tube coral. We got some cool fire corals. We got a weird blob spiky coral. I don't really know what this coral is. Yeah, these corals really begin weirder and weirder, but uniqueness is what you need in a big reef, I guess. And after adding some more corals into the mix, this reef was in dire need of some green. So I started building up a couple of green stems in an attempt to make seaweed. And now is probably a good time to mention that I have no idea how to make seaweed. So after 2 average attempts, I finally figured out a design I was happy with. Ooh, okay, this is how I'm gonna do it. We're gonna alternate the stems that come off. Yeah, that is looking good, mate. Much better than this ugly abomination. Okay, I think I've built enough corals at this point, so it is time to add some fishies. So first we'll build a pufferfish. The fact that this guy is diagonal makes it look so derpy, but I quite like it actually. Another cool thing we can do is stick a conduit inside of him, with consent, of course. Then next we'll build a bunch of tropical fish. So we got some Nemos right there. This one right here is a goatfish. So, and then we're gonna build some red-gray snoopers. Yep, I'm building every single tropical fish in Minecraft Hardcore. Anyways, let's move to some real-life aquatic animals now. And yes, I am using... Oh my god, you can't place dragon heads underwater. Okay, well, blackstone walls will have to do. And then over here, I'm gonna build a massive hammerhead shark. And yes, I know it looks kind of weird, but listen, it's my first time building a shark, okay? Don't laugh, you're gonna hurt his feelings. His name is Jeff.
My name is Jeff.
So the lukewarm oceans are now complete. You know what I need to explore this place? I need a nautilus. Let's see if we can find the super rare coral nautilus. You guys are not the coral nautilus I am looking for. So what you need to get is the 3% chance of a drown spawning on the nautilus. And that's a 50% chance that's gonna be... Oh! We actually found one. That was pretty easy. We've got ourselves a nautilus. Whoa.
Huh?
What was that? Bro just used like the leap ability. I'm actually curious. Can you use a riptide trident with this guy? Oh my god, man, you've... Oh, no. Okay, I'm just gonna tame a regular nautilus. It's not as cool, but we'll still be able to traverse all the underwater landscapes we're gonna build. But once again, I have to dig all of it up. So, I don't think my game is supposed to be lagging like this. Oh god. Okay, let's not break the shovel again, like I did the first time. My ears. So this is the area I plan to excavate. And yeah, now you guys can understand why this episode took so long, right? Shit. Guys, this is so weird. I found a random floating trident. Dude, I wonder if it floats to the bottom, like if it's just gonna stay there. Oh, okay, it disappeared. That's kind of sad. I was hoping I could have used it for a build. Oh well. Alright, it is done. I almost went through the entire Star Wars franchise mining all this space out. But yeah, I've got a pretty giant area to work with here. I want these areas to have a very dark and mysterious theme, because obviously they're in the deeper parts of the ocean. As for the cold, I'm going to be going with a bit of a Subnautica inspired theme. We'll split the two biomes down the middle with a huge arch. And then for the frozen ocean, it's obviously just gonna be more frozen. Now we just gotta make these areas look good. What I want to do is build like a green river. I'm not too sure how good it's gonna look underwater, but I guess we'll see. Why do I choose to do such large projects? I don't really know. And I am out of mud. What the? Oh, the sound of breaking mud. Don't know why, but it just sounds so nice. Oh, okay. I think it is time to go. And done. Look at this, mate. Oh my god, why is it so dark right there? Now it's time to spend an unreasonable amount of time detailing this entire place. So first I'm going to build a couple of hydrothermal vents. They're actually commonly found in deep cold oceans. Honestly, the sulfur update can't come soon enough. This thing will look so much better with the geyser steam coming out of it. Also, let the record show that I did it first. Yes, I invented the sulfur springs. That was me. And this vent actually has a little secret, because right underneath is the geode that was here before, which I'll probably fashion into some sort of amethyst, like crystal farm. Oh, there goes that budding amethyst. Oh, there goes another one. Okay, next I'll add some plants just around the river. You can also use dripstone as like a rock. Why does everything need to be waterlogged? Now, I'm using Subnautica as an inspiration for this biome, and one thing it had when I was looking at it was like weird jellies. I actually don't mind that design, because we can also alternate like the colors of it with different colors of glass. Another thing Subnautica had was a lot of like glowing branches. That's kind of funky. And the Lost River also has a giant fossil, so we can add that too. Who knows what this thing was, man? Some sort of leviathan. But sticking with the Subnautica theme, well, apart from these jellyfish, it was time to add some of its aquatic creatures. First the ghost ray, then a fish called a reginald. Also, turns out music discs make great eyeballs. And finally, a mesmer. We're missing the ghost leviathan, but unfortunately I don't think it would fit, because I actually want to cover up the majority of this biome, and then it will also split the biomes into like two sections, the deep and the not so deep. Hey, like a week ago I was digging up all this gravel. Now I'm placing it back in. Time flies when you're having fun. And look at this, you can see the biome from the surface, and you've got the smoke coming out of these holes. Honestly, this area is kind of perfect for like an ocean ruin, so let's get that in. And then up top, I'll just add a little ice lake and a fishing area for whoever lives on this island. Obviously, when the ice is here, you can drill a hole and do some ice fishing. 6-7. But that is the cold oceans complete. Although admittedly, I realize this top area is a bit underwhelming, but we'll come back to this later. We've just got the frozen ocean left. I just realized we went from the warmest ocean all the way to the coldest ocean.
Nice.
And we're going to be building a bunch of cool ice formations. First, I need to just outline where these things are gonna go. And I'm out of blue ice.
Bruh.
I guess this is what I'm listening to for the next couple hours. Yay. We are back in business, baby. So those are the blue ice channels, and then on all of these we're gonna have ice spikes. So by the end it should look like a cavern of intertwined pathways and spikes. You know what's kind of shocking? We have ice spikes and we have dripstone, but we don't have icicles. Like, how are icicles not in this game? I guess I'll just have to make my own. Mojang, please just add spicy? Spiky ice blocks, that'd be great. Okay, but this is just the tip of the future iceberg we're gonna build, and I actually like the green river so much that I'm gonna do it again in this biome, just with a different color, as well as add some more flora and fauna. Now we can move on to the cool part of this transformation, or the cooler part. You guys are not invited, okay? And obviously, playing along with the theme of the island, I wanted to build some giant ice spikes, which was actually quite easy, because turns out rotating a cone and axiom will give you exactly that. So after spending far too long figuring out where to place each one, you guys know what happens next. Hey, this technically counts as an ice spike transformation as well, doesn't it? Tick that one off the list, mate. Now it's time to add the tips of those icebergs I mentioned earlier. And I think one chunky iceberg right here should do the trick. What the hell? Oh, it's a trident guy. Oh, I've honestly lost count of how many tridents I've got in this episode. It's a lot though, it's a lot. Of course, where you find ice spikes and icebergs, you're gonna find shipwrecks. This first shipwreck is gonna be very difficult to build though. I wanna try and make it look like it's been impaled on this ice spike right here. Trying to copy a shipwreck upside down is hurting my brain. What the hell is this guy doing? Are you alright there, mate? Nope. He was definitely not alright. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I guess it crashed into like one of these and then just sunk down onto the spike. But now it's time for the big boy shipwreck. One that has crashed into this iceberg right here. Now that is a shipwreck. I'm not entirely sure where these guys were trying to go. Definitely a bozo at the helm. Alright, well I think I'd like to get some polar bears on this island. Can these guys fit in boats? Something tells me they can't. Okay, plan B, we're gonna have to take the children. Okay, one child has successfully been stolen. Nope, there we go, 2 children captured. I hope you guys are used to being in the nether. Oh, okay, this is a bit awkward. Let's get the baby first before he grows up too. Okay, wait, he's grown up as well. You know, that's actually made it a lot easier. And you know, now's probably a good time to go for that coral nautilus again. Guys, I think I'm going crazy. I genuinely thought that was a nautilus. Hey, it's a coral nautilus, mate. Let's kill all the regular nautilus so maybe a better one will spawn. Oh, is that it? Yes! Get out of here. This guy will fit nicely into the coral reef, along with a bunch of tropical fish, because I had to do something while I was searching for that guy. And that is now all the oceans complete. But in typical Eugenerino fashion, there are still some things I have left to do. Because looking at these 3 biomes and the fact that they all have builds above the water, I think these 2 need a little something extra as well. So for the lukewarm ocean, I decided to add a couple of ocean waves. These things were a struggle and a half to design, but honestly I think they turned out pretty well. Got some surfboards as well, you know how it is. But finally, I felt these oceans were missing a hint of terror. So after adding some sharks and a recreation of the forgotten squid mob, we got phantoms over this, by the way. Absolutely absurd choice. It was time to add to the one biome that was missing. You guys are not ready to see the sea monster that I have created. Boom!
What the hell is even that?
Okay, just kidding. This is actually what I'm building. This giant serpent took me like 3 days of designing and building, and this guy should fit pretty menacingly in the cold ocean. And a cheeky little nether portal in the mouth to finish this serpent. Dude, that actually looks hella nice. I would not want to be living in these igloos, that's for sure. And well, about 600 days later, and I finally completed every ocean transformation. Which brings me another 10 biomes closer to my ultimate goal, which is to transform every single biome in Minecraft Hardcore. And I think next time I'll be heading somewhere a bit more dry. So make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss out. And also make sure to join the Discord. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.